So first we're going to do signs that, we think everything is still well and good. The box score couldn't have done us any bigger favors. 6 and 8, that's the only points they scored. 68 right there. I mean, you can call Coach crazy, but he thought it was a little weird when they scored what seemed like the game tying touchdown in the first quarter and they go for freaking two and miss. And then they happen to get it in the third, right? He didn't think about, oh, that's going to be a 6 and an 8, and that's all they're going to score, right? And we need the loss to be on the quarterback, right? So he thinks the box score was real solid as far as coding. Now, as far as when like the bad stuff started to happen, the Saints scored a touchdown with 6 minutes and 4 seconds left. So that's our 64-46 there as well. Okay, so Coach's going to hit you with the good news first. The good news is the Browns are officially in the playoffs. The super fucking terrible news is it literally starts tomorrow, right? Like they cannot lose another game. They are playing playoff football from here on out. That's exactly the type of mindset and around the time of year you'd want a team to start to try to play some fucking playoff football. So like at least they got that going for them. But obviously we're asking a lot. We still believe. Coach will tell you why. All right, so our brownies got absolutely smoked today. Now, why is Coach kind of casual about it? Because at least, like, if he had to, look for a silver lining, it's not hard to find at all. It was the only NFC team left on the schedule. So, I mean, the only thing I can figure is they really are just doing that crazy run. That works better for Coach anyway because it was really hard to figure out certain tiebreakers. It was like, yeah, they can definitely come up with enough AFC wins to get in over Broncos or Chargers, but like they gotta win and lose to these specific teams, and that's kind of hard to see, right? But anything could happen. So like, if anything, that this just makes it a lot clearer. Like we just have to win every single game from here on out. We don't have to pick and choose like this one, that one, this one, that one. Like if we lose next week, it's over. So Coach likes that's a lot simpler there. He wants Jameis getting injured like fucking immediately and Zappy bailing them out. It's crazy. They're gonna have to beat the Steelers twice. Um, it's definitely that point in the season. I mean, they're 2-8. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're even remotely shaken by thinking it's real and it's impossible for them to come back, then yeah, definitely tune out. But why does Coach still have faith? Well, besides all the reasons we've already said, just like basic. If you just want to convince a football fan, like yeah, it looks ugly on the field. They look great early. Yeah, the offense was clicking, the passing, and then Jameis just stopped doing whatever. Like stopped running the ball under center. They started doing stupid shotgun shit, right? You know what I mean? And so the offense just completely stalled out. They didn't do anything at all after the first half. So like I said, it has to continue to be on the offense, and the offense kept them in it for one half, and then the second half they lost the fucking game. So like at least it's on the quarterback again, right? You know what I mean? There's a lot of other stuff that didn't get like there's like Mike Hall got knocked out for the season. Their rookie, I don't know if he's for season, but it's injured reserve. Maybe he'll be back for the playoffs, that sort of stuff. They're gonna have to make do without him for a while. They did fine without him before they drafted him on defense, right? So other key injuries, they said Denzel Ward's going to be questionable. That one would kind of hurt. Obviously, they lost their other guy, recently. Maybe they are just getting every excuse to basically get buried and they're just not going to do it. But, like, to me, like, injuries isn't a real excuse, right? Like, it's always next man up, all that sort of stuff. And they didn't lose freaking Myles Garrett. I mean, he's battling through a billion injuries. Like, if it was just a wash season, like, he shouldn't even be out there, in my opinion. You know what I mean? They should already ship them out. But as far as like what are the football reasons this team can do it if they do get a quarterback? Well, the defense is certainly competent at bare minimum, if not borderline elite at times. You know what I mean? When the game's actually worth fighting for, and they haven't just like realized their quarterback just screwed them again, and they just give up all hope. And like Coach totally gets that feeling too. Like that's really not on like it's you can totally say, oh, like you just gotta fight till the very end and all that sort of stuff. And Coach was always like that too, but only if you're with dudes you believe in. Like if your quarterback just sucks and he's a dick, like and he's done some shady shit, like ain't no way I'm fucking fighting for that dude down fucking four scores in late in the game when he can't even play football, he can't fucking toss a ball, right? Except to the other team, right? So that's how Coach feels there. He actually relates with the Browns defense as far as like when they do make their mistakes. It seems to be when it's like, just like this shit again. You know what I mean? So like when it's early, they play good, they keep them in it, all that sort of stuff, blah, blah, blah. They got two-time head coach of the year, one of only a couple coaches that hasn't made a Super Bowl with multiple Head Coach of the Year awards. They got the Assistant Coach of the Year in defensive short and Jim Schwartz, who was formerly the Eagles defensive coordinator. I'm also thinking he was the Lions head coach, if I'm not mistaken, a while back. So got those connections. Obviously, like all the sentimental reasons, all that sort of stuff, coaches can be mind blown if it's somehow freaking Lions versus Steelers versus Chiefs. He still can't even go that route, and he's still not even willing to put any insurance. He's got to see one more loss before we start thinking like that or putting any money behind it. So that's where coach is at. One more loss, and he'll be definitely five-star alarm, all that sort of stuff. Don't worry. It's not like coach just completely delusional, but we had our target win total. It was 9. We said we just need them to do the absolute bare minimum. They're going to look as bad as possible. They look more or less even worse than coach thought, but they look terrible in the ways we expected. So if somehow they can get Bailey Zappi into the starting lineup and just start clicking, it's not. It seems like the hardest task of all time. We've seen a lot crazier in sports. I promise what that Premier League team did that was going to get relegated. What they did was far more impressive than what we're asking the Browns to do here. But it's just so tough watching scripted football and just stupid stuff like just missing all those freaking field goals. And what else was there? Was one, oh, the goofy like incomplete pass the defender acts like he thought was a fumble, and he returns and he does a front flip into the end zone. You know what I mean? That sort of corny stuff. So it just seems like they're running it extra hard on the Browns. Like, what are the Saints front flipping in the end zone for? Like, they're 4-7 now. Like, you know what I mean? It just seems like a little bit much for just your run of the mill shitty Browns team. Like, if it was just your run of the mill shitty Browns team, it'd be boring. Like, they're spectacularly fucking terrible. You know what I mean? But like, not in ways that you can't fix. Like, just get the most important position up to league average by replacing like the worst quarterbacks ever statistically, like Jameis and Deshaun are borderline the same person. That's why they gave you the hint with the fake storyline that they both, like to do the bad stuff, right? With the ladies, right? And then Zappi's the only quarterback on the roster all year that has been injured. So of course I still believe it's Bailey Zappi. Just I hate how they do it. And like I talk about like that Red Sox stuff all the time. Like, I did believe full tilt. Don't get me wrong, but I still didn't like what I had to go through. I didn't like that I had to hear all the bullshit and all the media and everybody telling me wrong. Like I knew I was gonna, but like I wasn't gonna ever like give in or whatever. Like no, that's what I believe. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But this is still what I believe. I'm not willing to admit I'm wrong yet. We got at least one more week until that, and with any luck at all, everything can just shift in the complete opposite direction. This is what coach likes. These are all the silver linings, right? So it was the only NFC loss left on the schedule. All the rest are AFC. So if they make it up, they get to 9 wins. They got all the tiebreakers, right? He likes that. The loss is still continued to be on the quarterback, of course. There was one more big one. Gosh, what was it? Like even the Browns fans, of course, are going to be off him, but that wasn't it either. But it was kind of related to that. Oh yes, as far as like football logic, every single team is like laughing at the Browns and they're going to be giving them their worst shot. Ain't nobody going to be not sleeping on the Browns. So at least it's not like they're in a position to where, like they're getting teams that they're hitting with their best shot like the Niners are. Like looking at them like that was the best team in the NFC last year or something. Like there's a team that got bounced in the wild card and they're completely shitting the bed. So, and they're Cleveland anyway. So like if there's ever a time to laugh, people are laughing now. Hopefully that all bites them in the butt. Hopefully all that front flipping in the end zone, all that sort of stuff. Like I don't believe there's any chance now the Saints are getting into the playoffs, right? So like hopefully that sort of clown shit comes back to bite them. The good karma builds up for the Browns once they get rid of their second scapegoat, right? Like they sacrifice the second offering, and just every other reason in the world to believe that it's what they're doing. It's just they're never gonna show you like with if they made it obvious to everybody, how would they make any money? So. This is the type of thing. It's always like, you want more information, want more cards turned over? Well, this is what we know now. They can't lose anymore. Like, I can't imagine they're getting in at 8-9. Certainly not impossible, but I don't see this AFC this year. Like, not like it's some great AFC team. It is, or it's AFC conference, compared to years past. I think it is below average, but I don't think it's that bad. I don't think a team's getting a fucking 8-9. You know what I mean? So just telling you, like I definitely think our Brownies got to just start rolling, and it starts. And if they beat the Steelers, that's a pretty good sign. Like if they've beaten the Steelers and the Ravens, even at 3-8, that's a pretty good sign something's up. Like they're really getting the ones they need. There's still all the quality wins they could have left to get. They might not have to actually face Mahomes. They could get Wentz with the Bailey Zappi thing. Like there's still a lot of storylines there. Still love my playoff script the best. Like I said, I can't try to second guess yet just because it's just hard to see. Like it's still what I believe. So stay tuned if you do want an alternate script. We'll see if the Browns lose next week, but I'm not thinking that's what happens. I do think they start out bad again, which sucks. It's gonna be another shitty week of watch football. It's gonna be the longest season ever. It's already been the longest season ever, and it sucks. Like my Lions scored 50 fucking points today. I can't speak excited about the Lions, right? So Coach takes his shit serious. That he's not just like bragging. I told you the Lions were gonna win the Super Bowl. No, I want to beat the fucking Browns. Period. So just letting you know, nothing's changed. And lastly, getting geared up, what do the Browns have to play for, etc. They have everything to play for. Everybody's laughing at them. You'll at least gain some respect back. Right, at the bare minimum, also you got all the bulletin board material you could ever want. Like everybody in the league thinks we're a fucking joke. Like let's go shut them all up. That's the easiest thing. Usually, the easiest thing to catalyze a group of people is a common enemy, and their common enemy now is everybody. That's not them, right? So obviously they're gonna want to be playing out for stats, all sorts of stuff too. The offensive guys, when they start going up on teams, they're just gonna keep flooring. They'll be like, dude, I gotta get some of these numbers back made up. I need 5 touchdowns a day, bro. I'm not fucking around. I haven't had a touchdown in 6 weeks. So that's what coaches think is going on there. And obviously that's the storyline script, right? We don't actually believe there's players out there calling the shots, but that's how the storyliners play the psychology of it. So that's what Coach is thinking there. Now, as far as is there anything that concerns Coach? There is one storyline out there that he can't make sense of, and he's hoping it's not a really bad way, right? So obviously there's ways for this to happen that don't mean the Browns miss the playoffs, right? It could just mean maybe the Bengals miss or something like that. But why didn't Russell play against Denver earlier in the season when the Steelers won by 7? Wouldn't you have thought Denver and Russell would have had a revenge thing there? They still kind of matched up and the Steelers won, so it's Russell got the last laugh without even having to play. He was still a team player cheering from the sidelines. That one's just a little suspicious to Coach. The thing that makes him super not nervous about that, Elway missed the fucking playoffs his rookie season and got hurt. So there you go. Oh, and now as far as well, aren't the fans going to tune out? We're not talking about Cowboys fans here, dude. 2-8 to the Browns. That's 3 seasons worth of wins. Some stretches that's probably more wins than Hugh Jackson had his whole tenure, right? You know what I mean? So they're not tuning out just because the team's 2-7. I promise that. They had a parade over 0-16. What are we even talking about here? And your beloved Coach would definitely be remiss to not mention this is just a casual reminder that John D. Podesta of the Browns chief of strategy, staff, he, basically was the brainchild behind the Moneyball team who set the all-time Major League Baseball record for consecutive wins with 20. I'm asking for 10, including the Super. No, I don't think we're asking 10, are we? Yeah, we're asking 10. We're asking 10. So, yeah, give me 10. Because they're not going to win the freaking division, right? So, yeah, give me 10 straight wins. Half of what the Oakland A's did after gutting the entire team and fire selling everybody. The Browns held on to all their good players, the players that Browns fans wouldn't possibly be able to show up and support. You get rid of Nick Chubb, I watch the Browns. I promise you there's enough players or enough fans that feel that way. Even Njoku, Garrett, none of that shit would decide, right? Right, so all those really, really important guys are still there. And I think I got a little bit of an idea what might be going down with Ohio State versus Indiana. So Coach might make one college football pick this year. So definitely stay tuned this week for that one. In case you didn't notice, we got our boy here, number 79, 76 upside down. Down on the field, he had to get carted off, right? We know we look for 76s. And what's the score? 6-14. We drop ones, 64. Boom, boom, boom. Ding, ding, ding.